my 27M wife, 27F, cheated on me with my best friend, 26M. I don't even know where to begin. I can't describe how I'm feeling right now or how to process any of this. I made this account initially to see if anyone else has gone through something remotely similar to this, and unfortunately, it's not that uncommon. I apologize in advance for the length of this post. I just needed to get this all out cause I thought I'd go insane. I met my wife, we'll call her Sue, in college. We were both 18 at the time. We hit it off as soon as we went on our first date and were spewing I love yous within weeks of us dating. She kinda pursued me, but I was glad as hell that she did. We shared our deepest insecurities and secrets with each other. And when her dad passed away in her senior year of college, I was there for her through the whole ordeal. Her father had pancreatic cancer. And when he was hospitalized, I'd spend nights at the hospital with her so she wouldn't be alone. We got through it. And that point in time strengthened our bond. She told me she didn't know what she would have done if I hadn't been there for her. She called me her soulmate. I knew I was going to marry this girl, and sure enough, I popped the question about 2 years after we graduated. At that point in time, life couldn't get any better for me. I married the girl of my dreams, had a well-paying job immediately after graduating, and both our families loved us. My best friend, we'll call him Diavi, and I had what I could only describe as an unbreakable brotherly bond, or so I thought. We had known each other since 3rd grade, and he was the brother I never had. He was also married, and moved away with his wife because she had landed a lucrative job at a big law firm. About a year ago, his wife died in a car crash, and this broke him. He moved back to our hometown after, but he was never the same. I tried to be there for him, but he wouldn't engage with anyone. No one understood the pain he was going through. So I asked my wife if she could talk to him, seeing as she had also lost a loved one and that maybe Deity could relate better with someone who went through something similar. Yes, I know now that this was a huge mistake. We'd pay him visits daily. She would spend hours on end at his place even without me there. They were going on hikes together, watching movies and not inviting me, grabbing lunch, all things couples do. Now obviously this was far more interaction than I had intended for them to have, and it did make me uncomfortable, but DAV was doing much better from it. It's important to say that DAV and Sue never liked each other before all this happened. This is because Sue always thought he was a douche. Before he married his wife, Dave was bouncing from relationship to relationship, and even after he got with his deceased wife, he constantly cheated on her. As a result, Sue had a particular dislike for him and always questioned how I could be friends with someone with such low morals. This disdain for DAV is also what made me oblivious to what was to come. As I mentioned, Sue and DAV became inseparable, to the point where she would invite him to things I had planned for us as a couple. Moreover, she started portraying characteristics of what I now know to be classic cheater behavior, always on her phone, becoming increasingly distant, little to no intimacy, and coming home very late. At this point it was all too suspicious, and one day she was texting and I asked who she was talking to. She said it was one of her girlfriends, and when I asked to see what they were saying she became very irritated and called me possessive. When I talked to Dave about how uncomfortable their friendship was making me, he assured me nothing was up and even accused me of not trusting him and my own wife. I was getting gaslit. This continued until one day Sue went out again. She said she was going to her sister's for the weekend because she needed some space from me because I was driving her crazy with my accusations. I was still very suspicious and called her sister to confirm if she was indeed expecting Sue to visit. She confirmed that she was, but that Sue had not yet arrived. Mind you, she had left around 3 p.m. and her sister's place is about 4 hours away from where we live. It was now 10 p.m. Something in the back of my head told me to go to my friend's house, so I did. Sure enough, my wife's car is parked a couple of feet away from my friend's house. At this point it was clear as day as to what was going on, and I hate to admit it, but I cried. Hard. After a few minutes I decided to go in and see if this is really what was happening. I went in through the back door, which I knew would be open. I quietly made my way in and I could hear my wife moaning. I was shaking. When I made it to the door of his bedroom I could see through the creak. My wife, bent over on his nightstand. I'll never get that image out of my head. I'm literally crying as I'm writing this down. I pushed the door wide open and they both froze, staring at me. It took every ounce of my being not to beat the living hell out of Dav. I just walked away and got into my car. I could hear them scrambling and my wife started screaming at me to stop and that she can explain. I didn't want to look at her. I don't know what I would have done, so I just drove away. I cried the entire drive home and they were both spamming me with calls. I went to one of my college friends and have been here the past week or so. I can't eat, I can't sleep, and I can't think of anything else. I informed my work of what was going on and they were kind enough to give me time off. I've been getting phone calls from both Dav and Sue, as well as both our families. I let my family know I was alright and would be back soon, but I haven't responded to anyone else ever since. This hurts. So bad. I'm trying to be strong, but my resolve is wavering. How can someone you loved so selflessly do this? I don't know what to do. How do I deal with this? Please help me. TLDR, my wife cheated on me with my best friend and I don't know what to do. Help me. I edited this post and removed the self-ending thoughts I had. I read most of your comments but couldn't respond. I wanted to thank each and every one of you who offered support to me through this difficult time. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. You have no idea how much your words helped me think in a more positive light since all of this happened. You all gave me hope that there are genuinely kind and caring people in the world. To everyone who sent me a PM, thank you. I'm going to be responding to as many of you as possible. There were many of you. 50 plus PMs. Thank you so much for the support. Also, I took your advice and I'm currently looking at getting a divorce lawyer to weigh out my options. My friend recommended one who he described as a shark, lol. I'll update you all on how things go. Again, thank you all. Thank you for watching.